Welcome back to Starting Up. Now for SMEs actively considering listing on the exchange, one thing in their favor is that the new exchange will be a subset of this large structure here behind me. That means the SME exchange will leverage the BSE's existing infrastructure to reach out to the analyst, broker and the investor community. How much will this help the SMEs? That's what we explore in the final part of our Starting Up special. Rupak, I want to understand your company has grown quite substantially over the last 3 years. What are the options you're evaluating to further expand your company? Would it be private equity? Are you also looking at the SME exchange? What are your views?
Well, until this opportunity, I hadn't really thought about this. The primary option would have been VC funding, which we're looking at towards the end of this calendar year.
So there are many entrepreneurs like Rupak who are looking at VC funding, PE, and you will be competing with them for listing on this exchange, right? How would you compare listing on this exchange as opposed to raising VC funding?
We look at ourselves as what I call complementing the needs of the entrepreneurs, the investors like VCs and PEs, and even smaller investors. So we don't think that we are competing with the PEs, but the way we look at it is over a period. Listing on an SME exchange might be one of the primary conditions of giving you a VC funding or a PE funding, because ultimately, if a banker doesn't have an exit, today it is much more difficult for him or her to invest in your company. And so for that, once you get the liquidity into the picture, which is a priori, that is beforehand, the cost of your funds which you raise from such third parties which are not related to you might actually come down substantially.
So liquidity is one point, and liquidity is at the core of this exchange. But yet the investment lot size is 1 lakh rupees. Minimum investment is 1 lakh rupees. So there are views from entrepreneurs as well that will bring down the liquidity within the exchange. So what are your views on that?
The regulation says that primary market as well as secondary market, there is a restriction of 1 lakh rupees, and we had widely interacted with merchant bankers as well as we have been interacting with member brokers also. Many of them feel that a lot of 20 to 25,000 is good enough, and 1 lakh would be probably prohibitively high. These things are under consideration by the regulators. I'm sure, with time, things will evolve actually. I'm sure they will evolve.
So Manish, you've been in the finance field for almost a decade and a half. Looking at global models which have the investment lot size cap for the primary market, and there's some others like the AIM exchange, for instance, have the cap only in the primary market, not the secondary market. What would excite you while getting listed here? What lot size would excite you?
I think the lot size is one benefit, but I think the main thing for me is if you look at the AIM exchange, like you mentioned,
right,
one of the main benefits that it's done so well is because it has tax benefits for the listers. So
sure.
Is that something they're looking at here, is giving some sort of tax benefit?
Tax related issues we have already risen with the regulator and the finance ministry.
Right.
To encourage the liquidity, like buying of STT and all that, we have already written to the regulator as well as the finance ministry. And I'm sure the government of India would also be thinking of giving some incentives to the sector. Right. I'm sure the ministry would be coming with some very good incentives.
But currently also, if you are not a listed firm, vis-a-vis if you list on the SME exchange, you will have a huge tax benefit, especially when you exit as an entrepreneur. When you exit on a listed company, that if you own the share for more than a year, the capital gains tax is 0. While on a non-listed company, you end up paying capital gains tax, which is reasonably high. And so, although it may not be not be a new thing, but the amount of tax that you can save by listing is huge, and for me, that itself is an incentive enough
for the founder,
for the entrepreneurs to list on the exchanges.
Kashyap, your question?
Yeah, so the broad idea that I got was that we can raise anywhere from 20 crores to 200 crores on the SME exchange. One question was that while that is the fundraise that we are talking about, based on all the processes that would come into place, is there any median thumb rule on what is the kind of revenues at which a company would look at this option seriously? And second question is that normally we see that in an exchange, once an exchange starts doing well, what happens is that overall the amount of funding that is being raised in that exchange by companies progressively starts going up. So do you foresee a scenario also that 5 years or 10 years down the line this exchange would again become too big for new companies to come into?
It's an interesting question. The good thing is that it's being set up as a part of the larger board. It's not a separate exchange like AIM or NASDAQ. It's part of the larger board. So it allows gracefully the movement from a smaller board to larger board without doing too many other formalities. And so you get best of both worlds, and I don't see that character getting changed in even the longer run, because as soon as the company becomes big, it sort of automatically transfers itself to the big board, and the smaller companies remain. And so
Perfect. So Kashyap's first question was regarding revenues. So what would you answer?
In a sense, the revenues and profitability are not in direct proportion in different industries. So trying to estimate sort of put a cap or a floor for a revenue is kind of not scientific, so to say.
So the criteria are profitability for 3 years, right, as you mentioned, and you said if you're profitable for 3 years and you have enough interest from merchant bankers, then maybe it's an option you should consider.
Correct.
In terms of compliance, the BSE SME exchange is far lighter than the BSE, right? This is in terms of what announcement of revenues, results, and so on and so forth. Can you take us through how it's easier from a compliance logistics perspective as compared to the main exchange? You want to take it?
See, the what you call compliance, like submission of normal main board, it is quarterly submission of reports and all that.
Right.
But here it is 6 months they need to submit. Even annual filing of statements, there have been some dilution of norms.
Okay. Results also need not be audited before.
They need not be audited results before filing and all that.
The results need to be declared only once in 6 months, and annual results can simply be posted on the company's website. How will the BSE use its existing infrastructure to reach out to its investors? A key question on every entrepreneur's mind.
We have a new initiative, again at the behest of SEBI, that the companies even in our main board, which are not tracked by the analysts, we sort of requisition a third-party research by the exchange. Right. And reputed credit rating agencies and other agencies actually do it on our behalf.
So this will happen in the SME exchange as well?
Absolutely. And so that is what we take it as our responsibility, to ensure that the investors are informed correctly.
Okay, great. What about the media and publicity around these? Because a lot of stock decisions are taken on the basis of coverage in the media and other sources.
Once the companies are listed on the exchange like any other company, there will be enough interest from even mainstream media.
But it won't be a part of the same ticker, for instance, right? They'll have
it
to
will be part of the same
ticker.
One of the lessons we have learned from our past experiences in Indian context is that if they are the SME exchange segment is a part of a larger exchange, including the ticker, including the clearing settlement, and so on and so forth, it becomes easier on part of the investors to track, on the part of the brokers to trade in them, and so on and so forth. So our entire what I call the market microstructure design over last 1 year has been about how to kind of make it ride on the current infrastructure at literally zero additional cost for the market participants.
The next big question is, when is the exchange actually going to launch? Which month?
We have already filed our full-fledged application with the SEBI, and we are looking forward for inspection by SEBI quite soon, and we expect in next 1 or 2 months we should be getting the approval.
Right.
And after that we will be taking about couple of months to launch various marketing events all over the country.
Right.
And after that, I think
so second quarter of 2011?
Second quarter of 2011-12, that is July to August, September basically.
The verdict from entrepreneurs is clear. They want 2 things. Firstly, lower restrictions in terms of profitability and more tax benefits. It's been an honor moderating this panel. I'd like to thank members of the BSE SME Exchange and the entrepreneurs. So how will startups ride the launch of the new bull? We'll have to wait till August to find out. It's the end of our BSE SME special here on Starting Up. If you do have any questions on the launch of the new exchange, do write into us on startingup@etnow.tv. You can also SMS us or write into us on our Facebook wall. It's been a pleasure bringing this special to you. As we say every week, remember, there's never a better time than now to go out there and start up.